What is up, everybody? Today I'm back doing more Patreon team fixing. Today we're looking at a really cool Trick Room team that features Dialga Origin with Ursaluna, Stupor, Spooper, Spider, Arachnoquid, Incineroar, Sinistcha, and Fluttermane. Really cool team. Before we check out the Patreon team submission post right here, if you guys have a team you guys want me to take a look at, even the lowest tier, the $2 tier, gets access to this post. You guys can send me your teams. I'll make videos, I'll fix them, and I'll do my absolute best to make the team polished and as presentable as possible. But scrolling down here, we've already fixed a couple of these teams. Today we're taking a look at Cole's team. So this is the Pokepaste of the team I've been using. It's a simple team which has the main goal of getting Dialga and Ursaluna on the field together under Trick Room. Remember, this is a telepathy Dialga Origin, but can also play to outbulk the opponent through damage, trades, and sustain. I really like this write-up. One of the coolest things about these Patreon posts is you get to see the exact reasons behind why everyone uses these mons. So you can actually go back and look at these teams and use all of these reasons as ideas and inspiration for what you want to do in your own games. It's so nice. They did such a good job going over the role for each of these mons, and they're spot on. Like, they're spot on with this team. It's a really good one so far. And the last thing they really mention is that they are actually using a lot of the mons without speed reduced natures on the Trick Room team because they want to use shinies, and that's completely fine. All we really need to do is, if we take a look at the team fixing, we just need to optimize some of these EV spreads. So, like, this is what I really like about this team. I will say right now, you have all of the moves on these mons right. You have most of your Terras right, and I don't really think there's anything you need to change with those. I'm going to give you some alternatives. But the moves, the Terras, the items, spot on. You killed it. I love the organization of this team. If we take a look at its defensive team composition and ignore the Maryland ads right here, I think you did a really good job of organizing your defensive type coverage, and I think that it's just the EVs that are letting this team down a little bit. So it's the perfect team realistically for a team fixing session like this. We just need to optimize some of these EV spreads and give you a different look at how you could basically get your TR up and how to optimize winning before your Trick Room expires. So again, I really like this team, and I just want to say thank you so much to Cole for submitting it. They even included a replay where they show a little bit of how they like to play the team. So really good stuff. Thank you so much, Cole, for submitting it. And yeah, we're going to be taking a look at this team and hopefully trying to get some big wins with Dialga. So wish me luck. Here we go. Alright, going up against Calyrex Ice Horse. That's probably going to be a Final Gambit Ape, and the Ursaluna Mirror. One thing I really think we should be doing here, I think you mentioned it in your Patreon submission post, is that a lot of your mons don't have the necessary speed reduced IVs because you want to use your shinies, which is totally fine. We're just going to make EV spreads that actually function. We're just going to put a little bit of speed into some of these mons. So when you fight other Trick Room teams, you can just bully those Trick Room teams because it's going to be really cool if we just destroy their Ursaluna, and we could know that we could if we had something like a 12 here or something like that. So just for future reference, we're going to be changing those EVs just a little bit. How do I want to deal with this? They have access to big Final Gambit, so we have a lot of ghost types. I think I'm probably going to lead Sinistcha. I think it has Rage Powder, right? Yeah, so I'll lead Sinistcha just to be able to stop Final Gambit. I'll definitely respect that. And then I'm going to lead Dialga. I'm going to bring Ursaluna in the back, and I think that Arachnoquid is one of the best mons in the game at walling things like Calyrex Ice. It has wide guard for things like Armarouge. It's good into Ursaluna. Our Terra on this guy is Water Terra, so it's double dipping that Water Terra. It might be kind of cool to use Ghost as a Terra on Arachnoquid, and the only reason why I say that is I pulled up a defensive coverage chart for your team here. I pulled up a defensive coverage chart for your team right here. And you can see, after all these ads on Maryland, holy moly, there's so many ads on this site. Basically, you have your only weakness is to fighting. So I think that maybe having one more way to mitigate that might be something that'd be really nice. Just throwing that out there as an option, because there'd be no way that Ursaluna could ever even get in on you. The one turn they go for the facade, you flip the script, go for the Ghost Terra, and you're good to go. So we see that we see the crest, so we're actually just really okay here. We can just follow me away the Gambit, and what you want to do when you follow me away the Gambit is you always want to, you could hit the Ape slot, and that'd be super fine. I think I might actually hit the Ape slot in this situation, but usually if they do Trick Room, then they're stuck with a really fast Ape, and then you double into that Ape slot, which means they're either going to A, lose the Ape on turn 2 and waste a turn of TR, or B, pivot out the Ape and take just a ton of damage. But Rage Powder's going to be popping off out here. The reason why I wouldn't really want to hit the crest here is because it's probably just going to be Lunar Blessing anyways. I think I'm just going to go for a Dragon Pulse into the Ape slot. Chunk it to half. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. I wonder if they're going to be going for close combat. maybe something else like Final Gambit, it's not going to work, buddy. And so now this guy's going to be chipped. It might even be within range of Sinistcha Matcha Gotcha. Dragon Pulse is a little bit stronger than Flash Cannon, so we're going to make sure that we get that guy off the board. There's the Trick Room. We can go into that slot, we can pivot out the Sinistcha and get our board state ready. We can pivot in our Arachnoid. So we're in a really, really good spot where we can actually just pivot in the Luna, I think, and that wouldn't be bad. Ursaluna has a base 50 attack, and we double dip Ground Terror, which I'm not that excited about. Not that excited about double dip Ground Terror versus Kali Ice. So I think I'm just going to pivot in the Arachnoid, and then I'll just take out the Ape. We could also do a game plan where we don't take out the Ape, continue to Rage Powder, and just hit the crest and make them waste all their TR turns. That's definitely viable, but I don't think we need to do that. We can also Trick Room the Trick Room here and Rage Powder. You see, like, there's so many different things we could do, but I think we're actually fine just pivoting in the Spider, because we're going to make it so they cannot really hit our Mons with the Kali Ice. So they can bring that bad boy in. Well, we don't really care. So Moonblast. Yeah, go nuts. Special attack drop would be kind of lame. I'm the never luckiest person in the freaking world. Never lucky. That crest is slower than Dialga. We still pick up the KO, which is nice. Shoutouts to the Adamant Crystal, right? 1.2 boost. Never lucky on that, though. Ugh. Ugh. That hurts. The former Alpha. This is not Kali. This is their Ursa. So they just sent out Ursaluna in front of an Arachnoid. Don't know how I have to feel about this one. What does that tell me about what their last mon is? It should be Calyrex Ice, but I don't necessarily know if it's going to be Calyrex Ice. I don't think there's an issue with doubling into that slot, because the common Terras on that thing are going to be, let's see, they're going to be things like Normal and Ghost. I think that there's nothing wrong with just going deep. I'm talking deep, deep. But I don't know if I want to lose that typing yet. I think I might just Liquidate, because like right now they don't have their boost yet. I'm also going to Trick Room here, I think. I'm thinking about Trick Rooming, because if they go for like just a Protect play to get their boost, we do get some value out of that. I'm just looking at some numbers here. You know what? I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna Trick Room. I think our Spider's actually, I think our Spider's actually faster than them. Helping Hand. Oh, they're going deep. Are these going EQ? Yeah, that's fine. Dialga after the special attack drop is not that important anymore, so we do underspeed them. Kind of nice. Oh my gosh, the Oko. Yeah, they didn't have the Guts boost yet. They tried to pull a fast one on us, and not only did they not pull a fast one on us, the Trick Room's now gone, so they're gonna have to spend time replacing that, which means we can pivot. We have all the time in the world, and so again, I'm only having to make these sort of plays because like we're using like not Trick Room Mons in a Trick Room team, but I think you can definitely still make it work. It almost makes it like more fun to play the team this way, you know, not knowing or knowing your speed tiers correctly. But let's see, Calyrex Ice is the last mon. We just gotta not lose to this thing. I really wish our Dialga was not minus special attack, like from that Moonblast. I think what I'm gonna do though is just go for a Wide Guard. If you would like to hit my Dialga with a high horsepower, be my guest. Be my guest, be my guest, high horsepower me. Oh, just scoop. It's fine with me. We didn't even need to show our other mons in the back. We had that Sinistcha coming in. Our Sinistcha, I think, had Fire Terra as well. So really, really good stuff. I think what we would have done is just lost Dialga, though, honestly, and just brought out Sinistcha, and then just kept wide guarding, and then what are you going to do? Like, high horsepower down Arachnoid and Sinistcha? I don't necessarily think that's a good idea. Eventually, I'm going to be able to grind you out. We have Life Dew and stuff like that. Once we wait out those 8 Glacial Lanches or even the 8 high horsepowers, I think we're going to be good to go. So pretty good first game. But yeah, like what I was talking about, we want to put a little bit of speed into the Dialga. We want to put a little bit of speed into the Ursaluna. Maybe even a little bit of speed into this guy. I'm just saying, just because it's nice to know that you could outspeed some of these things in a non-Trick Room setting, and it doesn't necessarily make your team any worse for not having 0 speed mons on like a Trick Room team. Basically, you want to underspeed all the fast things, and against other Trick Room teams, like you said in your write-up, you want to bully them, right? I think it's like down here. I have the team in game, but the mons have suboptimal speed and attack IVs because I use shinies, and that's completely fine. When I play against opposing TR, I usually play to stop reverse their TR because I know I'm faster. Like, that's exactly what you need to be doing. And, you know, we did that in this game. So, pretty good first one. We're going to go into one more, and let's see if we can find something a little bit more aggressive. All right, here we go. Miraidon, and they have Iron Hands. All right, so this is actually going to be a pretty good matchup. I think we got to work on not getting imprisoned, and I actually think especially because they don't have any Intimidate users, we can actually get away with leading Ursaluna. And the reason we want to lead Ursaluna is, like you mentioned in your Patreon submission post, you have Roar to be able to roar out and imprison. So I think something like Ursaluna with the right teammates could be really good. We have to watch out for like the genies and stuff like that. I think a simple Terra could let us just get up TR with Dialga. So I think that's probably how I might want to do it. Again, this is where those like Ghost Terrors would be really, really nice on some of these mons, being able to like Ghost Terror Trick Room on Dialga. You know, Ghost Terror on Dialga would solve a lot of your problems as well, losing your fighting weakness and stuff like that. Just think about it, it's an idea. I think you could also maybe lead Sinistcha. I think our Sinistcha spread is relatively bulky. It's HP Spadef. And things like the Ogerpon, like a simple Fire Terra would block the Ogerpon and we'd be able to get it up. They're not going to be able to fake out it. So that's definitely an option if we wanted to lead Sinistcha and get up Trick Room. But I think I'm going to lead the Dialga. I think these two are a really cool lead. I'm going to bring the Arachnoquid here, and I'm wondering what I want to bring in the very back. I don't think that Incineroar is necessarily like a game-breaking mon here. I think we're actually going to get more value off of the Sinistcha. It's going to be able to wall the Iron Hands completely, and I think that's the one mon that's going to give us a lot of problems. Also, being able to Life Dew with that Sinistcha to be able to tap off our, like, you know, our Ursaluna or Dialga, it's just going to give those Pokemon that little extra bit of value they need to start trading with that Miraidon. I also think Ursaluna is amazing versus Miraidon. So let's go into this one. And Flutter. So the two things that could happen here are Taunt or Imprison. And note that they locked that Tornadus into the first slot. I don't necessarily think that Taunt would be their main prerogative, but it might. Because, like, honestly, I could have just led, like, Sinistcha, and a Trick Room Setter, right? And just went Follow Me Away a Taunt. So I could have definitely done that, but I think that because they let both of these, they're actually covering for, that might be Taunt Tornadus, and that might be an Imprison Flutter. So I'm going to actually play the standard way to do this, which would be to roar out the Imprison Flutter, and just go for a Trick Room. Now, if I knew that it was an Imprison Flutter, like let's say they led with like something else, like a rant like that Hands or something, I could just go Protect Dialga to stop the taunt, roar out the Tornadus, and then he would not be able to taunt me, and then Trick Room the next turn. But we're going to try and get this off. We're going to try and stop the Imprison Flutter. Here we go. Mystical Fire. Holy moly. It's not taunt either. Man, this Dialga is like, it's a magnet for special special attack drops. So Roar goes out, so that's going to be their booster down, which is fine, totally fine with me. Even if they want to come with like Iron Hands, I think that's fine. We can always just pivot out and bring in like Sinistcha and stuff like that. Miraidon, bro, that's so sick. All right, cool, yeah, we're good. So Trick Room's going to go up. Trick Room is going up. Awesome. Yeah, we take those all the way to the bank. So you see, though, we had multiple options. Like, if they would have led, like, Miraidon and Torn, we just would have went Protect Dialga, pivot out, like, Roar the Torn if we knew that they were going to taunt. But luckily for us, they didn't have any of those options, so we're going to be fine. I'm looking at what we want to do here. I think, honestly, like, this just pins the Miraidon too hard. I think that they're going to be pivoting. I would not be surprised to see, like, a pivot back to the Flutter. I don't necessarily think we need to EQ, even though we do have that Telepathy. I think what I'm going to do is actually just Facade this Torn. You could even Facade here. I don't think there's a problem with that, but I think it's a high chance this thing's pivoting to Flutter. I'm going to try and get the Torn off the board, read a Protect, and pivot in the Sinistcha, because Miraidon shouldn't have that many ways to really deal with Ursaluna, and even if it does... Oh, they just scooped. Well, I mean, we are that good. I think I'm going to include this. You know, normally I don't like to include games where, you just kind of win because they're bad, but like we went through multiple flowcharts, we went through the safest options, and we listed like 3 or 4 different things we could do to win each board state situation, and it worked. So we take those all the way to the bank. I don't know if they brought Hands in that matchup, but we definitely won. So we take those all the way to the bank, and we're gonna play another game. So let's go. All right, another Miraidon, and this one has Cress with Valiant. So Valiant is probably gonna be in prison, right? So I think we do need to do the Roar thing, the Roar tech here. And one of the reasons why I was talking about using like Ghost on Ursaluna, one of the reasons you want to go Ghost on Luna, not only is to have your better matchup versus other Ursalunas that are using Facade and other things like that, it's going to make it so when you want to go Roar to roar out those Imprison users, it's so they can't lead like a Fake Out user with that Imprison user. Because if they lead Hands and Valiant and I click that Roar Trick Room, they can just Fake Out the Luna to stop my Roar, and then I get imprisoned. I think that's going to be something that we have to deal with here, but I think it's fine. I think that we're actually pretty safe leading Luna into that board. We don't really care that much about Lando, so I think that'll be fine. It doesn't really matter that we're leading Dialga here. We might have to Terra early, but I think the same lead running this back is going to be fine. And then I think, what should we be bringing here? I think Arachnoquid's going to be viable, and I think I might still bring the Sinistcha. I think Sinistcha is really good against Iron Hands. I think it's really good against Miraidon. Lando's would have to Terrastalize into like Flying Terror or something to deal with it. Note that we're not really bringing that much Flutter. We're not really bringing that much Incin. And it's not that I don't like those mons. It's that I do not think you need those mons on this team to win. They're cool. They make your opponent respect your ability to have fake out. They respect your ability to have like an actual like fast mode, because like you could just lead like, you know, booster like Flutter with like Icy Wind and have like relatively fast speed on the Dialga. They have to respect those options, and I think they're still good members on the team, but I just don't think they're required in this like Miraidon matchup that we just played the last 2 games. So Miraidon hands means we can just get up Trick Room if we just drop like a double protect. And then, like, honestly, they can't respect the Ursaluna while stopping the Dialga Trick Room. And so we're going to be able to get up the Trick Room and then from there bring out, like, Arachnoquid and sweep. So I don't think there's an issue with just a double protect to stop fake out. This is where if you had Ghost Terror on either of these mons, you could be a little bit more greedy, but double protect is fine. And then we're going to force our opponent into a situation where they need to over-respect one of these Pokemon, and they can't really stop both. They can't really stop both. They can totally stop the Luna if they want to. What I think I might actually do is save the Luna though, and pivot in like Spider for the Luna slot after we get our Guts proc, and then Fairy Tear the Dialga, because that way we basically are stopping everything that they could realistically do. Yes, it's costing our Terra as the resource, but we get the Trick Room up, and then we have Spider and Dialga. U-turn Miraidon. That could be vested then? It wouldn't be Specs, because U-turn is actually not bad in Miraidon because there's so many ground types, right? I think it's vested, and if it's vested, then how much do I care about that? I could also just Terrastalize here and not die to the hands. I'm going to do that. I think that's actually kind of cool. All right, you're going to be pivoting in probably your Cress or your... You know what? If that's the case, if you're pivoting in your Cress, I'm not going to Earthquake. I don't have to Earthquake. Yeah, I'll still Earthquake. Yeah, I want to get the hands off the board. I think hands is more of a pain than I want to deal with right now. I don't like that. I don't think you have to. I don't think you need all that. I'm going to pivot in the Spider, like I said. It's a fine play. And we're going to Terrastalize here to Fairy. Just because I don't want to get Drain Punched by a plus, like a Quark Drive boosted Iron Hands, or close, goodness forbid, a close combat. So we're giving our opponents a lot of respect this turn, but note that we're also switching in a Pokemon that resists like a lot of what Ursaluna is weak against. So really, really good stuff. And then we're trying to find like a board state pin where we can regain board state with like Ursaluna and Dialga at the same time. We have like the Telepathy Dialga, we have the AoE like ground Ursaluna. I think we're still in a really, really good spot. So they're going to go Terra as well. How bad would it be to have Flying Terra on any of these mons? That would be stupid. Don't do that. Water Terra, that's totally fine. Absolutely fine. Remember, we're going to take some damage this turn, and we can pivot out either of these mons for Sinistcha. U-turn's absolutely A-okay. Nothing wrong with that. Remember, the main reason we're Terrastalizing this Dialga is to make sure that we don't die to Iron Hands. That's the one thing that we're trying to do. And then next turn, we're probably going to pivot it out for Sinistcha, depending on who they target. Crest, there it is. So they're going to try and like Trick Room our Trick Room. So we basically force them to bring the Crest, but now we're... Oh, they hit that slot. So we technically wasted our Terra, but I don't think it's that wasteful. Let's think what we need to do here, though. I don't think there's a problem with pivoting out... Ooh, we could just Leech Life there. I'm fine with this, though. And this. So they're going to reverse our Trick Room, which I think is absolutely fine because we're just going to reset it in 2 or 3 turns. I don't think that board state has enough power to actually threaten us. Yes, they can go for massive wild charges in our Arachnoquid, but we're going to be Rage Powdering after this turn. So if we don't die this turn, I think we're in a good spot. And we just have a lot of damage. That's a lot. That's quite a bit. And also, like, we have the ability, because they wasted their Terra. Oh my god, they did Heavy Slam that turn. Wow, what a gamer. Whew. There's the Lunar Blessing. They're not reversing Trick Room. That's very good, actually. I'm super happy to see that, because, like, I'd rather they don't, you know? I can go for Matcha Gotcha. I can go for Protects. I can weave things on in and out. They can go for an Electric Attack into the Arachnoquid, and we can pivot in our Ursaluna. I think that's probably a pretty fine play. And then we don't have Protect here, which I don't necessarily like that much. They might just break the Sinistcha. I'm going to try this. Pivot in the Ursaluna. Just Matcha Gotcha, I think it's okay. If you want to hit this guy, I'm going to get a repin on a board state with like a Dialga and the Ursaluna and be exactly where I want to be. I really thought they were going to reverse the Trick Room, but it's totally fine with me. There's the Ally Switch, the gamer move. Good thing we're reading that and going for an AoE play. Matcha Gotcha. This can burn. A burn here would just win the game. Absolutely. Absolutely, positively. Never lucky. We do get some health back, so we're going to be able to maybe live that Heavy Slam if they wanted to overcommit to that. Probably. Look at that health. Oh, Hands has such a high base health pool. Let's go. And we do get the burn. Oh, cool. That's game. That's just it. That's it. I mean, we should be fine here. Heavy Slam's fine. And now we just go redirection. Even if they... Ooh, that's a crit too. Even if they wanted to go with something like a... Let's see. Even if they wanted to go with something like a Heavy Slam or like a Drain Punch into the Ursaluna, they would just get redirected. Cool. So Ursaluna is in a great spot. We're running out of turns on TR, but I don't think they have the right tools to repin our Dialga in the back. They're also running out of turns on their terrain. So if we can actually get some KOs before the terrain ends, if we can get a KO on either of these mons before the terrain ends, we're going to be in a really, really good spot. Let's see. Ally Switch is on cooldown. Because they'd have to re-bring in them around. I guess they would just reapply the terrain, yeah. I don't really care about the crest. It obviously doesn't have Trick Room. It has Ally Switch. So like, I could just get that thing off the board. Yeah, I'll just go for that. I wanted to check the speed tiers on some of these mons real quick. 58, 82. So we undersped that hands. I don't know if you noticed that. We undersped the hands. So that means we can actually just take this turn to just go for like a life do and get some health back. I can even pivot it. This is fine. Yeah, nice. We don't need to attack the hands anymore. Like that's more than enough to take that guy out. Facade boosted by the guts. Big, big, big damage. 140 base stab off a +1 attack. It's really, really... But like, we're also kind of okay. Because we have AoE moves, right? The whole plan here is now they can send out anything they really want and we can just Earthquake everything, right? That's the idea. So let's see what you got here. Show me that Miraidon. Remember, they wasted their Terra as well, so there's no, like, Grass Terra Miraidon potential. Like, they're just going to come in and get EQ'd hard. EQ'd hard. So let's see what they got. Survey says, what you working with, buddy? Yeah, I like this team a lot. I think if we actually clean up, like, some of these EVs, this could be, like, the way that Dialga is played, if we clean up some of these EVs. And I think we'll still keep the Incin and the Flutter. It's just that they don't really need to come that often, but the effect they have on the team preview makes them like respect our ability to fake out. It makes them respect our ability to intimidate, pivot, things like that. Flutter is like a third Trick Room setter. I really like what you did as well when you had like multiple different Trick Room setters with multiple different defensive typings. Going back to like the type chart that we made. Oh, they got the... Oh, Jugulis. So they actually did bring Jugulis. I was very surprised to see this. I think they should have pivoted this thing in a couple turns ago. I was really thinking that the last Mon that they had was Lando, but Jugulis is fine. Don't really need to care about that guy that much. Let's see. Last turn Trick Room, I have no qualms just going for a Facade into that slot. Absolutely none, just going for a Facade into that slot. And I think I'm going to re-pivot into my Dialga to be able to reset my TR next turn, because I'm not afraid of what those guys do. I can always protect with the Luna and just set a new TR there. They're going to take the scoop. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. That's what we like to see all the way to the bank. So pretty good third game. We won every single game with this team. And I think it's going to be a lot easier to win more games after we fix some of these EVs. If we were to take a look at this type chart again before we really get into anything else, I really like... I don't like these ads on this site, holy moly. But I do think Maryland's still a really good site. Yeah, I think that this team has really, really good defensive typing. Like, what do you have? Like, weaknesses to fighting here, weaknesses to fighting here, and you have, like, fighting resist, ghost type, ghost type. It's so important that we have all these ghost types to make them not overcommit. Note that I don't even think they ever really went for a fighting attack. Maybe that one guy did with the Iron Hands, but we pivoted it in the Arachnoid that turn. Like, I really like the defensive typing that this team has, and I think it's this team's greatest strength. If we were to take a look at some of these EVs, I'm also going to go back and show you guys the rental code, because there's nothing wrong with this rental code. The rental code is really, really good. This team, if I were to rate it, if I were to give it a rate, this is an 87 out of 100, which is a B+. It might even be a little bit higher than that. I think the team does a lot of things right. I think all the moves that you have on these Pokemon are correct, right? I think all the moves you have on them are correct, and I think you should be aware of a couple more defensive Terra types. I personally like Grass Terra on my Incins. I also think Grass Terra on Incin could help if you're stuck having to Earthquake, and you have like Ursaluna and Incin, your Earthquake there, but also Grass Terra on Incins makes it so you can actually parting shot the correct targets if they have Amoonguss and go through Rage Powders. It makes it so you don't have to care about Amoonguss, and in those late game situations, you don't have to like get spored. You can just go Grass Terra and Flare Blitz to your heart's content. I like Grass Terra on Incin for that. Ghost Terra is another viable option on Incin right now as well. I think Ghost Terra is really also good on Luna, Spider, and Dialga. Just throwing those out there, those are really, really good Terras on these more aggressive Trick Room teams, because one way that a lot of players like to stall out Trick Room on Trick Room teams like we have here that don't have like Farigiraf or Indeedee is they'll let the Trick Room go up and then they'll just fake out cycle you. And so that's one of the reasons why you see like Ursalunas go Ghost Terras, so like they can't just like lose them on and then repin you with a fake out and then still exude pressure with their restricted. So just think about maybe going Ghost Terra on the Ursaluna. I know it's so cool to go for like that Ground Terra massive Earthquake, and that's why I'm still gonna keep it. But I just want you to be aware that like a Ghost Terra on the Luna or Ghost Terra on the Dialga will make it so if you're getting fake out cycled, that's the thing you need to do to fix it. And when I talk about fake out cycling, I'm talking about you get a KO. They bring in an Sin, they pin you with a fake out, they pivot in like another fake out user, and then not only did you have to protect or get fake out of that first turn, but now you get fake out of the second turn. Now you've wasted 2 to 3 turns of your Trick Room. Maybe they weave in 1 protect, and now your Trick Room's down, and then you lose the game. So I'm just throwing that out there. Don't get fake out cycled. Just put a Ghost Terra on some of these mons because you're using your Terra defensively in an offensive way. It's one of the few situations in which like losing all of your weaknesses and gaining like a way to solve a matchup is really, really good. It's like best of both worlds, so I would just think about it. But going into these EVs here, Dialga is a really, really good mon, and one thing I want to say is whenever you're submitting these teams and whenever you're making your EV spreads, you always want to make them level 50, because VGC is done at level 50 as opposed to level 100. So it's going to change your EVs just a little bit. Instead of every 4, it's going to be every 8 after the first 4. So I've talked about this before, right? It's basically the first 4 matter, right? And then it's, oh, I'm so sorry. I forgot to take that off. You got to change all these level 50, right? But anyways, instead of it being the first 8, I'm sorry, the first 4, it's the first 4 and then 8. So it would go from like 4 to 12 to 20 to 28, etc. Instead of something like 4, 8, 12. You see how like 4 and 8 give the same amount? You got to go up to 12 for that, right? So anyways, what I would do in this situation, because remember, we want to keep all of these like shiny Pokemon. There's nothing really wrong with keeping the high attack IVs. None of these mons have really big weaknesses to foul play other than Sinistcha, which it doesn't even really matter because it has such a low base attack. I think that what you want to do is usually put about 12 points. I think 12 points is really, really good because this is still going to be like the metric. If you want to make sure, you could even just put 1, because sometimes people go up to that 12 on like Tailwind teams. So this would still let you underspeed other things like Kyogre. 90 is a really, really popular base for a lot of restricted Pokemon like Groudon, Kyogre, things like that. This lets you still underspeed Kyogres that are made correctly on like Tailwind teams, because you need to get to 112 to not only outspeed base 100s at like a +1, -1 from like an Icy Wind, but also outspeed Shadow Riders. That's going to double into 224, and that's going to be able to outspeed Shadow Riders in like a Tailwind. So 4 points is all you really need there. I also think that Dialga would greatly benefit just from taking a little bit more out of your special attack, because like you don't need this much special attack on Dialga. You're going to be two-shotting most things because you still get the 1.2 boost from your Adamant Crystal. And so I would like to solve just a little, like maybe a hard matchup into Shadow Rider. So let's plug in Dialga. So Dialga Origin, set this to 50, and Shadow Rider. So Shadow Rider is going to be right here. Set this to 50 as well. Let's give the Shadow Rider like a 252. It'll be timid, so it doesn't really matter. And let's give it Astral Barrage. And so you see, if we set this to doubles, because remember, single target moves and double target moves are different, they do about half uninvested, but some of these guys have like life orbs, right? And some of these guys also double dip their Ghost Terra, right? It can be right here, and they click that button. And so you see that doesn't KO, right? But then when you add in something like a Helping Hand, it is a KO. So we don't have any investment yet, right? So like right now what we just have is 252. Right? It'd be nice if we could get this number to not KO. Because, like, this is the only... That would be the only way that we could get up Trick Room versus that team. Is, like... Because Sinistcha ain't doing it. Fluttermane ain't doing it unless we had, like, a normal Terra on either of these guys. So I think that, like, just bulking out your Dialga just a little bit more. Also, if we were to take away the Helping Hand and give it, like, maybe just, like, a Choice Specs. Choice Specs. So, like, we already lived the Choice Specs variant from the Ghost Terra, which is nice. There's also variants that go like this, that are like Nasty Plot boosted. I don't think we're going to be needing to look at those right now. We can even see like that's actually the same calc right there. Like the Life Orb +2 is the same as like the Helping Hand Ghost Terra. You see it's like the same level. So if we're able to theoretically live through one, right here, Helping Hand, we're going to be able to live through both, right? So it's really, really good to know. I do think, though, that being able to live that would be very, very nice. It's going to take a lot of investment, though. Like, it's possible, but I'm going to tell you something crazy in just a sec. So you can go 188 there. And it looks really weird. You're like, what? now I'm like way too bulky on that side. And like, honestly, you don't actually need any points in Dialga on this. Let's go take a look at that Annihilate that we fought earlier. Let's plug this back in versus Annihilate. Because Dialga is, you need to get the Trick Room up and play a little bit longer game and allow your other mons to do their job. That's the whole point of it on this team. So this is like a standard Annihilate. Our item is the Adamant Crystal. So Adamant Crystal, and we have like Dragon Pulse here. Where's Dragon Pulse? Bam. So you can see, uninvested, it does about half. And so if we just give ourselves Nature, it does exactly half uninvested, which remember, that's what it did last time. And if we put the full 252, which is what we had, it's overkill. Like, you're only getting like 10% more boost because you're not using that many strong moves. So Dialga is one of those mons that's either going to two-shot everything or one-shot things that things are super effective against. But honestly, just having your Nature is the same as having this like full investment. It basically gets humongous diminishing returns, and it's not using really, really strong moves to break through that barrier. So you actually don't really need like any investment in Dialga. I'd put the 4 there because they're extra and just throw 60. And honestly, you're going to have a lot more ways to win the game with this set. You know how we went with that defensive Terra in like the 3rd game that we played and we're like, I don't want to die. Now you don't have to give a shit. Like, you won't die. Like, you're good. You're totally fine. You'll just eat it, right? So just try this out for me. Let me know how it goes. I think this is also the right way to play it with like a Sinistcha being able to like restore health and things like that. It's going to be very, very good. So think about giving this a try, and let me know if you have any questions about it. The Ursaluna, you're similar idea. You don't need to have like max attack on these guys. You actually want to get to the bump on Ursaluna, and so the bump is going to happen. Well, you don't even need to get to the bump in all honesty, but let's see where it happens. You don't even need it. Yeah, you're getting like way overkill once you get up that high. So I think the bump happens, where even is it? So the bump happens when you combine your Nature with like the fact that you're putting in EVs, and sometimes you get like 2 points for 1. Is it right there? Yeah, so the right there is the bump at 156. That might be a little bit low. I would actually say I like my Ursalunas to get up to 204. This just lets you still keep your KOs versus Incin. I think this one has Headlong Rush too, but it's supposed to have Roar on this Timided Poke Paste. I like the Roar. Roar is very, very good tech. 204 is all you really need. And also, you don't need like this high base HP. Now, what we actually could be doing here. All right. What you could be doing here is optimizing your HP to be better used with leftovers. So we're going to do that. So what we're going to do is divide that number by 16 and find out where it's an exact even number. So you're basically just taking the exact amount every single time, because you take a percentage of your health every single turn. So we got, what is it? Let's make our health probably like a lot lower, because you don't want to get the big diminishing returns. Let's go down to like 228. 228 divided by 16. 226 divided by 16. Getting closer. 224 divided by 16. 224. Cool. So we're down 224 here. And so this is just going to make it so you take like 1 less HP. You take the correct amount of HP without just like wasting it. And Ursaluna just doesn't really need, like, it has a massive HP pool. Similar to a Pokemon like Blissey. It doesn't need like a ton of investment. This is more than enough. And then like what I like to do here is just go like whoop. You know what I mean? Like, just absolutely max it out. And remember, we said we're not going to be using that speed reduced Nature. We're going to be putting about 12 points in there. And then just like this. This is just a much better EV spread. These are extra points, but you're going to be basically covering up for the fact that like your HP was doing like you're basically wasting points in your HP stat, in my opinion. And so now we're just a lot bulkier on the sped up side. And so now we can actually take a hit. And remember, we have health restoration, right? Health is not a resource you need to be investing to, because you're going to be losing health every single turn. You want to be investing in your bulk, in my opinion. So this is just a better set, and it does kind of what you need to do. And now you know that you're faster than the Ursalunas. Now you know that you're faster than the Dialgas and other base 90s that are optimized for Trick Room, right? So if you were to see like a Kyogre on a team that was like hard Trick Room, you know you're gonna be able to outspeed them. And if you were to see a Kyogre on like a Tailwind team, you know you're gonna be able to underspeed them. Same thing over here. I don't mind having full attack on this guy. But since we don't, like, this is something, if you want to keep this, that's okay here, because 42 is such a niche speed tier, but you can do the same thing that we were talking about here, putting like some points in there to make sure you outspeed things or don't outspeed things. I think that this EV spread is fine, but if you were to cut it up into like a 4-4-4 set, and you'd go something like 244 here, so like that would be a way to know that you outspeed other Arachnoids in Trick Room. And so I'll give you back this paste, but don't change it if you don't want to, right? If you're comfortable with that speed reduced one to be able to underspeed a lot of different things, it's absolutely okay. This is how I would play it, because this is me knowing that when I see an Arachnoid, I don't need to have a TR, and I can just outspeed them and I'm faster than them. And remember, we're only doing this because of your speed IVs that you have to be set this way, but it's completely fine. Sinistcha, I think this is like a really weird EV spread because we're putting like a ton in special defense, but we have like higher nature over there. I think 90 is a really good number, but I still think you want to put at least 4 there. I think maxing out your HP is good because it's one of your lower stats. I think that like, this is weird. What I do when I play Sinistcha is I actually put my nature here because it's an even higher boost there. So like, let's see. If we were to go 141 to 155, that's 14 points versus 126 to 138. That's 12. That's you get an extra 2 points in special attack, which we take those all the way to the bank. It's not weak mom by any means. You get an extra 2 points in attack by just putting your nature right there. And then from there, I don't think we need like massive SPDEF investment. I think that like realistically, what are we afraid of on the SPDEF side? This thing is a Rocky Helmet, should have more defensive investment. I don't think there's an issue with something like this, but again, you can still cut that up into a 244-44, right? Don't waste those points. So this is probably just as viable. I don't know why you had so much SPDEF on your Sinistcha. If you want to fill me in on that in the comments or on Patreon, let me know. But remember, our Dialga just got a humongous SPDEF boost. So now we have like our special Trick Room setter and our physical Trick Room setter. So now you have like multiple different things that we can do with it. So I really like this set just a little bit more. Flutter Mane, I think this is a good EV spread. I would recommend using a sash on this and just going 252, 252 because you're not using your sash yet. But I understand you want a bulky Trick Room setter that gets the boost to special attack that's like uncommon. And so they think that when they see the Flutter, they're like, oh man, that's going to go fast, and then it doesn't go fast, and then they get Trick Roomed, and then they get rolled. I like this, so it definitely works. I'm going to keep the Flutter exactly the same. This is the right move set. This is the right Terra. This is a good EV spread. Good stuff. I like this a lot. And on the Incin, I don't necessarily agree with this Incin set, but I think that it's okay. I personally am of the opinion that you don't want Flare Blitz on an Incin set that only has 4 investment. You need about 60 points with nature to actually KO the things with Flare Blitz. So what I like to do in situations like this, I know it seems really weird, but I cut Flare Blitz for Wisp, right? That's what I do. And so I'll give you back this same set because like what's the point of this Incin is to like mitigate damage. It has Fake Out, it has Parting Shot, Knockoff, or Interruptions. Like, so you know we didn't bring Incin to any of the games today? Well, I would have brought this Incin to fight that Kali Ice, you know, because I can just Wisp it right in the face. You can also think about putting Taunt there or even Protect, but I like the Wisp there. I also will change this. I like Grass Terra. I just am more comfortable with the Grass Terra. I think it's just better into Amoonguss. And so now you can actually still do other things. Like imagine if you're sitting in front of Amoonguss, you go Grass Terra, and they Rage Powder and you just Wisp them, and then they just lose the game. It doesn't matter how much you're Wisping. If you hit that Wisp, it's GG's. So these are the changes that I would make to this team. I'm going to be giving you a fixed Poke Paste on Patreon in just a minute. But what we're going to do is we're just going to go play a couple games and hopefully get some wins. So let's go play some games. All right, here we go. We see Koraidon, we see Raging Bolt, Amoonguss, Farigiraf. So that might be an Imprisoned Farigiraf. They do have the Intimidate, so it might stop us from leading that Ursaluna to be able to roar, because if we just lead Ursaluna and get, like, intimidated, that's, like, a cycle we don't really want to go down. I think if we're going to use Ursaluna, we bring it in after a Trick Room is well established. And so I also don't think we need to lead Sinistcha here, because that's a bad in the Incin. I do think leading Dialga can be completely fine. They have a lot of single target mons, so Dialga with, like, Redirection could be fine. Even Dialga with, like, Flutter could be fine. I think I will actually lead the Flutter here. One of these guys is going to get up Trick Room, and then we're going to go for the Sweep City. I'm going to bring the Luna. And I'm going to bring the Sinistcha. I think having the Rage Powder against some of those guys is going to be pretty nice. So there's the Koraidon. There's the Walking Wake. So they cannot stop both of these. And this Flutter still has a good enough speed tier to where we bully some of these. So like if they want to go for like a Flare Blitz here, they can't stop this from getting up Trick Room. We bring in the Luna, we win the game. They got a special attack boost. We got a special attack boost. Yeah, I think we're going to be fine here. They are faster right here. So they can also go for like a Hydro Steam. I don't know if they even get the KO though. But again, if they're attacking that slot, they're not attacking here. I'm trying to think. I will go for the Terra on the Dialga here. I will do it. And I will just click the Gleam. Yeah, I think it's a safe play. I think using your Terra to get up the Trick Room with this team, this is an example of like a harder Trick Room playstyle. it's very required. And so having that polarizing Terra there, they can absolutely Flare Blitz the Dialga. Hydro Steam doesn't KO the Flutter because remember we had that really, really good EV spread. We outspeed, KO the Walking Wake. Being able to get a KO the turn you get up Trick Room is absolutely massive. We block the Collision Course so good. Trick Room goes up. That's basically game, right? That's basically game. I think we even might want to pivot this thing out depending on what they send in because they're going to send in something slow. Maybe something like the Frigoraph. And I think I'm just going to pivot in Sinistcha and then attack something. I think that's probably going to be the way to do it. Don't want to attack this guy because he could protect and they could flip it. Oh, Amoonguss. That's fine. Good play on the Amoonguss. I think Amoonguss is a really, really good mon here. I think, though, that I'm just going to go for like a Flash again. I'm going to target this Force of Rage Powder. If you want to Spore the Dialga, be my guest. Pivot in the Sinistcha here. We don't need to keep this Flutter on the board anymore. I think Flutter's actually done its job. We know that we outspeed that guy anyways once Trick Room's over, so we can actually just, if we chunk that guy for just a little bit, we can save the Flutter, re-bring it back out, and just go for like a Shadow Ball into that thing and just pick up the KO. And we're also kind of forcing them to maybe go for like a Flare Blitz. Sludge Bomb. Go nuts. Yeah, they're going for damage. So we forced them, right? We forced them to go for a Spore. They didn't. They went for a Flame Charge. Absolutely fine. Totally, totally okay. Now that thing is within range for a lot of stuff from this Flutter main. Good play, though. I think Flame Charge was fine. Let's see. Luna is the play here. I don't know if I want to just, like, protect. I'm going to protect, and I'm going to protect. And the reason why we're double protecting here is so we can then next turn go for, like, a massive Earthquake. And we're going to be able to do this so we don't have to get spored by the Amoonguss. Don't want to take another Sludge Bomb. They can go for a Pollen Puff, but I think they're too low. Earthquake will get the KO. And I don't know if they have Protect, but even if they do, remember that Flutter still outspeeds. So we're going to be in a good spot. I'm trying to think what they could have in the back. I don't think they have Incin. I think it could be Bolt. I think if they had Frigoraph, I think they would have brought it out. It's Incin. Cool, like I said, there it is right there. Really, really good Incin pivot on the Ursaluna slot. I like that a lot. Let's see if they're Sludge Bombing or Sporing. They Spore the Ursaluna slot, which is, they're trying to Spore us before we go for our Guts proc. So good play from them. Now they still have a Fake Out up, but I think we're going to be in a good spot. Trick Room's about to expire. Let's see, who would be the right Pokemon to hit here? I think it'd be right to hit the Incin and just go for the EQ. Because we're going to double into it. So there's that Fake Out, easy peasy. Sludge Bomb, we're going to stick some damage on the Incin, and we're going to get the big EQ up. Yep, so that guy is guaranteed going down, because right now we're at neutral boost attack right now. We could even pivot out if we wanted to and pivot back in. But I think like right here, I'm just going to go for, let's see, they were taking 32% from Sludge Bombs. I don't mind protecting and just going for like an absolutely massive Earthquake to peel off the Incin. And another thing that's going to happen here is they're going to be able to send that Koraidon back out, but then they're still going to have to respect Dialga, right? They're still going to have to respect it. They're going to have to hit that slot. They're not going to be hitting the Luna, and Luna should be able to get an Earthquake off, and then it's going to be like Amoonguss versus Flutter, and then Amoonguss is, we'll just lock in like Sludge Bomb and we're good, or Shadow Ball and we're good. So EQ, big damage, chunks that Amoonguss. Do we see Citrus? No, so it might be like, sorry, it might be like a Rocky Helmet, but they're both within range of Flutter, right? So in this situation, we can actually just go massive damage. I actually think the right play here is to double Koraidon with like, you don't want to Trick Room anymore because we know we outspeed the Koraidon with the Flutter. So just EQ. And if they want to go Protect, we already showed that we did exactly half with that same Earthquake. So even if they do Protect with Koraidon, we should be fine here. If they want to go for like a big attack, taking out our Ursaluna, Dialga takes the Koraidon, and we take out the Amoonguss with the Flutter Mane. So we're in a really good spot here. They're thinking what they could do. I think their best play might even be like Protect Amoonguss, thinking that I double that slot and trying to like KO something. Just raw Collision Course. Massive damage, nothing wrong with that. Remember, we're getting that Koraidon off the board. Probably going to lose Dialga here, but then we should be able to break the Amoonguss because we have that special attack boosting Flutter thanks to their son. Here it is. Special attack boosting Flutter. We should be able to get the KO here. I'm assuming because we didn't see Citrus that this is a Rocky Helmet Amoonguss, which means it has massive physical investment, which means this should just get the KO. And it doesn't. I'm never lucky. Never lucky. Hey, sometimes I'm never lucky. But you know what? I planned it out. I planned out that flowchart. You know, we could have attacked the Amoonguss. We could have done a couple different things. I think though that it made sense. Like, I don't know what the Amoonguss item is. It might even be Mentorb. That's been very popular lately. But it gave every inclination that it was Rocky Helmet. So, yeah, I'm very surprised to see massive Spadef bulk investment on the Amoonguss. But, hey, you know, we're just going to go into the game. I think, though, that we played most of that game right. And sometimes things just don't turn out the right way. I feel like that I was setting up that same flowchart, like getting the Amoonguss to about half and then pinning with Flutter, and it just didn't work out. But I do think, though, that things went roughly exactly the way that I wanted them to go. Like, I could have hit there and then brought out the Flutter. But I don't know if we could have broken the Fire Terra Koraidon with the D-Gleam. You know what I mean? And, you know, we hadn't seen the investment yet. Yeah, that wasn't... I'm surprised that didn't do that much. I know we don't have that much special attack investment, but it's a booster on top of it. So it's like, that's surprising. But we take the L and we keep going. We keep going. Keep going. But you can see how, like, a lot of the... Like, we forced our opponent into a lot of, like, 50-50 situations. So here we are, Calyrex Ice with Amoonguss. Oh, see, Amoonguss is like such a problem. You really got to play around that thing. And this guy has a Torkoal. So what I think we should be doing here is stopping this guy from getting up Trick Room. So we can do that two ways. We can use like Ursaluna to roar out their Trick Room setter. We can Trick Room their Trick Room, or we can just try and roll them with damage. Trevenant is a relatively unique Trick Room setter that has a good matchup against us. I don't necessarily think Incin is amazing here, but I will bring it. I think I'm going to bring it in the mid game. I don't think you bring Spider because they can always pivot into Torkoal. I think I'm going to lead Dialga Luna. And then I'm going to go Incin. And I'm trying to think. I'm going to go... Am I really going to use this? I don't think it's right. I'm going to bring Flutter because I think I'm going to be doing a really good job of stopping their Trick Room here. So they have multiple setters. I think we could do two things here. Let's see. We have Frisk, so they know what we got. We can just go for, like, bam, like, whack, bang, boom, like, just flash cannon up, but we actually don't KO there. I wonder who is using Trick Room here. They could also just both be using Trick Room. We could also just double into, like, one of these slots. It's definitely an option. We don't know if their item is, like, a clear amulet either, because, like, Incin Pivot could be really nice here, but I don't know if we need it. I'm going to go for the flash cannon. And I am going to... go for the Incin Pivot. We're going to play it very safe. If you get up Trick Room, I will come in with my Ursaluna and dumpster you, bro. So we could have just roared the Trevenant and had it. Could have had it all or nothing at all, but you see we have a good fake out pit here. So right there, bam. So if they wanted to protect there, they have to eat this, then they have to eat another one. So I really do like this situation for us. Hopefully they're not like Policy Calyrex. I wouldn't be surprised if Trevenant pivoted out for something like, oh, Fire Terra. Cool. So we get to see this. Like, hey, go Terra. Forest Curse Grass. Okay, I see what you're about, son. I see it. Forest Curse, not bad, not bad. Yeah, we don't have to deal with that. We can Parting, but I don't know necessarily what their item is. I'm just going to go Protect, Knockoff. Note that we don't need to re-Trick Room yet. We actually want to let this Trick Room low-key expire. I think the Incin eats this. Yeah, because they're not... What item were they? Weakness. They're a Policy, bro. Holy shit, they were just Policy. Because, like, that's nutty. That's nutty. All right, so I'm going to pivot in here. And I'm just going to go Parting Shot here. Torkoal. Good stuff. Come back in. We're going to take a lot of damage on this Flutter. But it's okay. Yeah, we don't die. Not yet. Bam. 2 turns left on this TR. We're going to come with Luna and get our Guts active. And then, honestly, like, I don't think there's a problem with just double protecting and then repinning both of these mons. So, I vibe with this board. I think we might want to go after the Torkoal, though, with the Shadow Ball. But yeah, it's hard. It's a hard one. There, pivots. Okay, so we've seen all 4 of their mons. And now they actually are going to have a board state, right? That is going, like, really, really hard. But there is not a new Trick Room setter anywhere. So we have a lot of damage, right? I think they're going to go... I want an Earthquake. I think the Earthquake is the right play here. I think what I'm going to do is just re-pivot in my Dialga and just click the EQ. And I'm going to go Ground Terror. Like, we're going deep here, boys. We're going deep. I'm OHKOing your stuff here. Finally, the Ground Terror makes its presence known. Rage Powder, yeah, they had to go for the Rage Powder to stop our Shadow Ball. Telepathy avoids. OHKOs the Specs Torkoal. There's that Citrus Amoonguss. You can still see it within range for EQ, though. And we should be able, because we took our Speed Reduced Nature out, we know that we can outspeed a lot of these guys, right? So let's think. They're going to go... Let's see, Dialga is faster. They have the Rage Powder up. I could Trick Room the Trick Room, but I actually think that I'm fine to just, like, click Dragon Pulse into the slot and just go for... I'll just EQ again. That's fine. Oh my gosh, yeah, that's too deep. Yeah, Dunzo, bro. Bro, you Dunzo. You still got to click that Rage Powder. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy out here. That's what we like to see. Oh, yes. Yes, please. Big Scooperino. So we did redeem ourselves. I think that we played pretty well in this game as well. Like, Ursaluna is just such a bully. We're able to use the Ground Terra. I feel bad that we didn't win this first game, but, you know, how are we supposed to know that Amoonguss was, like, full SPF investment with, like, no berry? Hard to say, but I do think this team is very, very good. And if you have questions about any of the changes I made, please let me know. I think that this is a very, very cool take on Dialga, and hopefully you get some wins with it. If you guys have a team you guys want to submit on Patreon, think about checking it out. I really like how in-depth your write-up was. I really appreciate it. I understand the exact reasons why you're using these Pokemon. But if you guys want to send me a team, even the lowest tier of $2 tier gets access to this post, all my rentals, everything up on Patreon. Think about checking it out, and yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know if you guys like these team fixing videos in the comments. And other than that, peace out. I'll see you guys next time.